Welcome to Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and once again I'm joined by Jim Simonetti, where we'll be chatting to Tommy Carruthers.
Tommy, you've got guys like Steven Seagal, you've got guys like Van Damme, you've got guys like Jet Li, you've got Donnie Yen, who I quite like myself, who played Ip Man. Where do you look at these guys and what they do in the movies and their art that they put across compared to what Brucey's done? And the other part of the question there is, how do you think Steve McQueen was as a student of Bruce's?
No, I don't think you guys come anywhere close to trying Bruce's shows, you know. And Donnie Yen, I was in Hong Kong, and I was invited to go to a premiere. Me and a sex-girlfriend of mine went to Hong Kong, and it was Donnie Yen's premiere of his movie. So the producer had said to us, okay, he says, I'll meet you at the cinema, Hong Kong Island.
This was Ip Man?
It was a detective picture.
It was
Sammo Hung,
right,
before the Ip Man pictures. So we goes along here and walks in, and we said to the security, you know, we're in, blah, 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 okay, right. So we walked up the stair, and there was a lot of people standing, and the woman came with a clipboard, what's your name, blah, blah. Says, we're up here, and we're waiting in tickets, and the producer's coming, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, right, stand there. So another guy came up with a clipboard, and what are you doing here? So would all these people come up, you know, questioning why we were here and this and that, and all the fans on this side here. Then the producer came up, hi Tommy, hi. There are the tickets, and we just looked at all these kind of people, you know, that had been giving us a hard time because they thought they're kind of gate crashing. We're kind of looking, going, my girlfriend's kind of nudging me like this, going, don't Tommy. And I'm going like that to them, look, I'm rubbing it in, look, there's the ticket. So we walked in with the cast, you know, and crew, you see the movie. Mm-hmm. Donnie Yen and producer, director, and the funders, and all the fans went into another film, another cinema. So I remember saying to her, we were sitting and Donnie Yen was behind us. I says, who the hell's Donnie Yen? She goes, I don't know. She goes, where is he? I said, where is he? She goes, I don't know. What one is it? And I'm going, I don't know. So we walked out. We didn't even know who Donnie Yen was. So I walked out, and producer guy says, this is Donnie. Mm-hmm. And this is Tommy. And he put his head down like that, like as if he was terrified, and he shook my hand, and I'm kind of like, you know, what's wrong with him? You know. And we went for some eating. We're sitting in a restaurant, and he was sitting at our table, and says, right, Tommy, come on up. This is Tommy, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know, as if he was cowing, as if he was scared for me, and I shook his hand. And so to cut a long story short, I says, well, what's happening? Am I getting a part in this film? He goes, I've decided, no. He says, no, it's not. It wouldn't work out good. He says, because you might make him look bad and you might hurt him. I'm like, I says, do you think for 1 minute, if you gave Tommy a part in a movie, he's going to waste his chances with hurting the star in the film? Mm-hmm. I would have to be stupid. He can beat me up all he wants. I don't care. He can do what he wants. I don't care. I would never be disrespectful. So he wouldn't have put me in it because for some reason I think maybe this guy was intimidated, he was sitting scared, or yep. I was going to make him look bad, and thinking, you know, what is wrong with these people? So that's the Donnie Yen story. Wow. That I never get a part because they were scared in case I hurted them. And Sammo Hung was in the movie as well, right?
Right.
And halfway through the movie, Donnie Yen appears in it, but which later on we realised, oh, so that's him, right? And Sammo Hung's in it, because we thought Sammo Hung was the head guy. And when we all came out, and before Donnie Yen appeared, Sammo Hung walked by and put his hand up, kind of waved, and went like that, and waved and walked away. And the next guy was in it, waved, and Donnie Yen came out, oh, that's, you know, we said down, I'm thinking, I said to him, I says, if I had made a film, I'd be walking out, cheer, like, whoa, what do you think? Was it good or bad or indifferent?
Absolutely.
He was kind of walking out like this and like that, you know. I'm thinking, what the hell's wrong with this guy? You know what I mean? He's got a chance to make films and all the rest, and he just looks as if he's so unhappy and so scared. I don't know if it was my presence. Did I scare him? I don't know, but that's the Donnie Yen story about Hong Kong, how I thought I was getting a part, and it transpired Tommy was not getting a part.
And my second part of that question there, Tommy, was how do you think Steve McQueen was as a pupil or a student to Bruce?
I think he was a pretty tough guy, and I think he'd been a good. That'd been some movie. I remember the story that Ted Wong told us one time, and Ted had this speech impediment, and Bruce was enough a guy for really ribbing people, and if you had something wrong, he would always kind of make a point of, robbing you up about it. Mm-hmm. And the phone rang, and Bruce went to answer the phone, and okay, right, and he says, Ted, he says, wants to talk to you, and I don't think Ted had talked to Steve, and he went like, hello, and Ted had this lisp, and Bruce and another guy was sitting there killing us all laughing that Steve was talking to Ted, and he was asking him questions, and he didn't like talking, because of the impediment, And then when he went to a restaurant, we all say to Ted, you order it, and he didn't like talking because he had that lisp. So Bruce had a kind of funny personality. Aye. So he did. But that'd been an interesting film with Bruce Lee and Steve McQueen. That'd been interesting, Aye, that would have been interesting.
On the subject of film and movies and the opportunity you just spoke about there, there's been other opportunities and you've appeared on screen as well. Talk us through some of that, how it's opened doors in respect to documentaries and film.
Me and my son we done some stunt work for the BBC. It was a pilot called Full Action, and they'd done this, it was maybe about 10 years ago they'd done this, or maybe about 12 years ago. And I trained this guy they brought for Canada. I trained him in martial arts and stuff, and the guy for what's his name, Apollo Creed, the guy for the Rocky movie, he was in it.
Aye.
So it was. And Jamie Winston, she was in it, Ray Winston's daughter.
Yep.
She was in it as well. It was a kind of Doctor Who type thing, me and my son done some of the stunt work, and as I said, I trained this Canadian guy. But they never got the funding. It was going to develop into a series, but they never got the funding to do it. Maybe it wasn't good enough. It was a kind of Doctor Who type thing. But that was interesting, It really was. My son, he was really good on it. Some of the stunts he done it were good. But me and him, I done 2 video games for Nokia. I done all the stunt stuff and all the motion capture stuff. My son came in and he done a lot of the stunts as well. That was for Nokia phones. But that was interesting. We done 2 games for them, but I think Nokia phones, I think they went out the game. I'm not really too sure. But they had their phones and they had these games, and I think what happened with the games was the games weren't compatible with other phones, and I think that's what messed it up, if the games would be compatible, because that was the time that you bought the tiny game and a chip and you put it into the phone, but it only worked in Nokia.
Right.
But they won all sorts of awards for the quality of the games on a phone. They showed me them.
Brilliant.
They're absolutely amazing,
So you've appeared in computer games. That's incredible, eh?
I went to America to this massive games expo, and we to do a demonstration. Me and one of my students, so we done a demonstration, and we were only out for a few minutes, and we done the demonstration. Some of the stuff we done in the game, and there was a lot of people that was working for Nokia. It was there, showing people their seats and helping and all the rest of it, and showing us back to the lounge and the guy. And so we came out, we done the last demonstration, and I think I was using a belt in it or something like that, because I think the character in the game had a belt, and I took the guy punched me, and I took the belt off and I hopped. Excuse me, and then I threw him and done something. And so after that, the guy that was the head guy or the stewards and that was in the Nokia, but he says, what we'd all planned today when you were finished is we were going to jump on top of you and your student and just kind of dummy fight you, he says. And after we'd seen the last demonstration, we thought, maybe that's not a good idea.
Dummy fight, not a good idea.
And I said to him, I says, man, just as well to do it, because we'd have went into overdrive, we'd have thought it was real, we'd have hit people.
Yep.
That's it, we'd have just have instinct. And he says, something says that, I don't think it's a good idea that we just have a laugh and jump on top of these 2 guys.
Imagine the aftermath of that, just bodies lying everywhere.
But the hotel they use in Ghostbusters, the one in Los Angeles.
Aye.
That's the one we stayed in, the Baltimore. Because I remember walking in, the young guy that was with me, Johnny, he says, Tommy says, this is the hotel they use in Ghostbusters. He says, what? So we walked up to the desk, 2 guys from Glasgow, and the woman's behind the desk saying, can I help you? Like this, this kind of look. We says, we're here with Nokia, I've got a room booked. Are you sure? You know, it just made us so uncomfortable. She looked up her list and goes, "Oh, so you've got a suite booked," and we kind of just kind of walked by her like this, you know, and we went up the stairs, you know, and all these people were all walking about with immaculately dressed, and we had the tracksuit trousers and a t-shirt on and training shoes, and they've got all the Gucci and God knows what.
Way to go, Tommy. Way to go, aye. Brilliant.
I remember standing in the middle of the suite looking, going, "My God, this isn't a room. This is an apartment." And same when we'd done anything for Nokia in Germany, we went to do the motion capture, and they put us into the Frankfurter Hof, and you know that guy Jamie Cullen, the guy that plays the piano.
Aye.
He was there, and the Outlaws were there, and all these other people, and we went down for breakfast, and all these celebrities were all sitting. We walked in with Adidas training shoes and tracksuit trousers, and the woman says, "Can I help you?" You know, and quite a kind of nice English accent. And he says, "We'll stay here. Are you sure?" And we're like, "Aye, this one room." Okay, right. This is where we're sitting. And we're sitting like this going, "I think we're in the right place." John, it's so funny, but you know.
A wee bit of the TV work you did was with Frankie Boyle as well.
Frankie Boyle, right. Frankie's one of my students. I remember I was away doing a seminar one time, and I come back, you know, and my son, I think he was either doing it at school or he was teaching. He says, "Oh, Frankie Boyle's in the class." And I says, "Who?" "Frankie Boyle." He goes, "Who's Frankie Boyle?" He goes, "Frankie's one of the top comedians in Scotland, the UK." He goes, "I've never even heard." So I was in the class teaching, and he says, "That's Frankie Boyle there." And I was like, "I've never saw him before." So it was with for quite a wee bit of time, you know. And I said to him one time, he said something to do about training, lifting weights. He goes, "Well, I'm going to go to the gym." I said, "You're quite welcome to come along." So he used to come to me at the gym, and I used to walk in and think, "Oh my God, that's Frankie." And he used to come up and say, "Are you his bouncer? Are you his bodyguard? Could Tommy get his autograph?" And say, "Frankie, would you?" "It's okay, Tom." And you know, I'd say okay, and he'd get his autograph, and we'd lift weights together. And one time, my youngest boy came along, and he was really friendly with him, and he said to me, he says, "No, Kai," he says, "see that pull-up bar?" He goes, I bet you £1 I can do more pull-ups than you." And I'm kind of standing there, and I kind of looked at him, and I don't know what he's saying. He goes, "I'll tell you what," he goes, "I'll give you £1, you know." And Kai's okay. So I love some upright, and Kai goes up and he does about 5 or 6 pull-ups. He does quite a few, and Frankie just looked, you know, and Frankie goes up, he's kind of done one, and the guy puts on it, and he gave him £1, and he said to me, "How can he do 6?" He goes, "We've got a pull-up bar in the door, no one is screwing pull-up bars." I says, "What he does is he climbs up inside the door and he does pull-ups all the time, you know." And he says, "God, I didn't think he could do that." But Frankie was okay, but he's not the same kind of guy you see him on the TV. He's very quiet,
right?
You know, he's a very clever guy. He's well educated, and he's very, very clever. But he's no cracking jokes and all that, you know. And then he phoned me up about last year, and he goes, "I'm doing this thing, tour of Scotland." He goes, "I want you to be in it, you know." I goes, okay. So come down to the class, and I said, "Do you want the guys there or what?" He goes, "No, just me and you, and maybe bring one of the guys along, you know, Kane, young Chinese guy." I says, "I'll bring him along and I'll demonstrate, and you can train with him and can film it." So he turned up, and thought he was going to have a couple of mobile phones we were going to use, and they turned up with full film and crew and everything, you know, and I think we'd done about 4 hours. But the funny thing is, a lot of the stuff that we'd done, as I said to you, that was really, really good. You know, they didn't show that. It just showed, you know, Frankie doing a few techniques, but I still remembered it. It was okay.
We were talking last week to someone who knows him and who said that he was a master of his craft as well, because he was always so well prepared. You know, you talk about jokes and comedy, and sometimes it looks as though it's just off the cuff. But he was just so well prepared.
I was telling him about it, how he rehearses all the time. You know, he just repeats it and repeats it and repeats it and repeats it, walks up and down for 4 and 5 hours, just keep repeating it and repeating it. But I think if you're at the top of your game, you'd need to do it. It's like if you're playing football, you would need to just, you know, it depends what you're doing, you'd need to just pick one technique, and you'd need to do that about 10,000 times.
Well, that was Tommy Burns' philosophy, put 10,000 hours into it. 10,000 hours, 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours, yeah. So you've mentioned that 10,000 as well. There
was a pal of mine, and the two of them done judo together, and I was really, really friendly with them. And I was teaching a lot of people privately, and they decided, we'll try this as well. We'll teach judo and a wee bit of self-defence, and we'll teach weightlifting, bodybuilding, anything like that, because they were right into that. So one of them, Jim Henry, he sent a letter to Celtic And it was one of the, can't remember the name of the directors, it was a director and his wife, and he ended up going along and he's teaching one of the directors and his wife, you know, just lose weight and just tone up and the rest of it. And one day he turned and says, do you fancy trying out for the strength coach for Celtic? And this was the time that the Irish guy was in the, what's his name again? Remember was it an Irish guy?
Martin O'Neill, maybe?
Martin O'Neill, right. So he turned around and said to my other pal, because my other pal's more experienced with the fitness side, he says, what do you think I should give him? So he wrote a plan out what he should give him for the test, because he says, well, I want you to come along and work with the team and we'll take it for there. So he wrote the thing out, Jim, give him that. So he goes along and he gives him, they offer him the job. So he gets the job, and he turns around and the other guy, Steve, he says, well, any chance getting me? Oh, he says, I can't do nothing for you. So after him writing the plan out, helping him, because he's the guy that's got all the experience, Jim goes along, Jim gets in, Jim gets the job, does nothing for Stevie, you know. And then I think when this guy left, he left to go to England, if I'm right.
And he ended up going to Aston Villa.
Well, he took Jim Whale.
Right.
Is that right?
And Steve was the guy that had all the experience, and Jim was the guy that didn't have the experience, but Jim got the big time and Stevie didn't. He just used him to jump out his back, kind of thing.
Amazing. But that's what a lot of people do. Tommy, unfortunately, one of the things that I would like to ask Tommy here as well is we'll get the UFC, we'll get the MMA as a sport. As a sport, you'll get Conor McGregor that says that he probably thinks maybe he's the closest thing to Bruce Lee, but he said a lot of good things about Bruce Lee as well, and he uses Bruce Lee's quotes. I'd like your thoughts on that. But one of the things that I've been thinking over the last few days to ask you as well, what your thoughts were in the McGregor and the Mayweather fight, and if you were training one of them for a fight, which one would you take to teach and to advise?
You know, McGregor saying he's like close to Bruce Lee and this, I'd say, oh no, man, just you're kidding yourself on, you know. You certainly are. No, Bruce Lee's he's in a different league, you know. No, just martial arts, or just intellect and thinking and whatever. He's all way ahead of, you know, this guy. You know, certainly when I look at him, it could be a lot better. You know, there was a guy that I knew, and he knew people in that camp, and he was talking to him and trying to get me in to train this guy, because apparently McGregor knows, he's heard of me and all the rest of it, but they're always kind of, I always feel as if that there's always people who want to block other guys coming in case there is some kind of threat. You know, it's like they've got a coach and somebody says something to somebody, but they don't want to allow this other guy, and I can see their point, but you could actually bring the other person as a technical advisor without getting rid of the coach, you know. But when I look at McGregor, he's okay, but there's a lot of things he does wrong. You know, his punching's okay, but his mobility's not really that good, and a lot of times he's wild with a lot of things. I would say that Mayweather, he'd be good to train, definitely. He'd be good to train. I think he'd be the better at the two of them. The fight between the two of them, I think really Mayweather could have ended it quicker. I think he just kind of coasted and just played, but I think he could have ended it quicker. I did, but.
That's interesting,
and I think that even though McGregor was roughly at the peak of his time, Mayweather was well out at peak his time, and still he had a hard job. You know what I mean? The thing is that these MMA guys, because they actually use boxing techniques, think they're good enough to step into the ring with professional boxers. But they've got to remember that they do MMA and they do some boxing techniques and grappling techniques, they do some kicking techniques, but professional boxers just punch and do boxing. You know, that's a specialised thing. So it's like boxing and punching isn't a special. It's not the top thing that they practice, though. It's one of the things, but it's not. It's one of the things, but it's not the most important thing to practice. And you're going into the ring with a guy that just does this one thing at a high level and think that you can beat him when it's only one of the things that you practice. You know, you've got to remember what's in Mayweather's neural system has been put in there since he was a kid. So all the reactions and moving and all the rest of it. But somebody who does MMA, they'd be doing a bit of boxing, a bit of kicking, a bit of grappling. So it's no drilled into their system as deep as what a professional boxer. I mean, I remember training with a professional boxer years and years ago because I wanted to learn how to box and punch. And he was a pro. you know. And he'd been boxing since he was 5-year-old, you know. He was inside the length of my arm, and he says, punch me, with a pair of gloves on. He says, and I trained him for quite well, punch me as hard as I can. I couldn't even touch him. He would just go like that. Without hitting me back, he would just move like that. And I'm thinking, God's sake, man. And I get angry and try to get him. And then he would just go and touch me. And he thought, you know, and he said to me, imagine I was hitting you. Imagine I was hitting you hard. And I couldn't lay a finger on him. And that's drilled in since he was about that size. Mm-hmm. You know, just drilled in.
Joshua or Fury to train? Which one would you pick?
Fury.
Why?
I think he moves better. I think Fury moves better. Get better command of weapons. Joshua's got a jab and a right uppercut. When people get inside the jab, he panics. He just switches to the uppercut. He hates close quarter. But Fury can fight close in, and he's good on his feet. Well, a wee bit of help for somebody like me, as far as, you know, that kind of shooter what we talked about with Jimmy. That these certain things that Bruce is at would bring to it would really change him. And a lot of times he drops his guard and he punches as well.
Mm-hmm. My next part on the boxing side to you, Tommy. Old school boxers or current day boxers?
I would say old school.
Mm-hmm.
I like old school. When you watch somebody like Joe Louis, you know, you see him moving. You know, it's so effortless. Guy throws a punch, he just goes like that, you know, and you see him using his left hook. It's, I mean, as far as mechanic wise, you know, body mechanics, I can't see the day that's got the mechanics and the movement of him, and it's so effortless, you know. Mm-hmm. He was amazing. There's no two ways about it. You know, just a left hook, right cross. Just I think the old school guys were technically better. I think modern day boxers are in better shape. Well, I'll rephrase that. I think modern day boxers look in better shape because they're using weights. But the old school didn't believe in that because, as we said earlier on, they thought that weights would make them muscle bound, which I think is the case. You know, when you look at somebody a way back, we know that far back, like Frank Bruno. Frank Bruno was like a bodybuilder. He had some shape, but see, after about 3 rounds, he was gassed out, you know, because every punch you throw, the muscles are getting pumped with blood. They're getting bigger. It's like if you were doing curls, you know, you have that pump. Frank actually looked as if he was getting bigger and bigger. So you've got your body actually fighting against yourself because, you know. And then the thing is, when you're throwing all these punches, and you've got these big muscles, they take a lot of energy. So it's just sapping the juice out of you, you know. So the old school way of training with press-ups and pull-ups and burpees and, you know, wood chop and running and sprinting, you know, where you're no a big, massive, muscly guy, you know what I mean? You know, I think that's a better way of going, you know what I mean? Really work on the tendons and ligaments rather than having muscle, you know?
I remember reading that Bruce watched the Ali fights, but he watched them in reverse.
That's right.
What do you think of that wee part with him watching that in reverse?
What he done is he watched them through a mirror.
Through a mirror, did he?
So he'd sit the mirror there, and he'd have because it was reel-to-reel films he had away back then.
Right.
You know, Super 8 kind of stuff. So he'd set that up there and put the mirror here so he could see him fighting right side up because he wanted to copy how he fought.
Wow.
So he wanted to copy his mechanics and how he'd move in his feet. So that's what he done. So he'd see him right side up.
Amazing, Paul, isn't it?
It is absolutely incredible. We've been speaking about how you have gone over to China and you've taught martial arts, and as you say, on the face of it you think, wow, but obviously we know why that is, but we believe through your own research and what you've learned over the years that Bruce Lee does have other connections to Scotland. Talk to us about that.
Well, I was teaching in Beijing one time, and the host, a guy called Neil, he said, tomorrow, says we're going to a Bruce Lee convention or something. He says, Bruce's brother's going to be there. I says, okay, I know him. Okay, we'll go along. He says, and the guy that plays Bruce Lee in some dramatisation series about Bruce Lee, he'll be there as well. So we went along, and the guy looked really like him. He didn't, you know, certainly did, but martial arts wise, no, he wasn't any good. So we said, okay, right, let's go into the exhibition and look at all the stuff and blah blah blah. So we go in through the door and we're looking at just different things, you know. And I saw behind this kind of glass case these letters, and it was for Bruce's mother to Bruce. And the thing that was kind of striking was the name, because I'd heard that Bruce was half Chinese and half German. But the thing is, a while previous to that, I was doing a seminar in Italy, and a guy said to me, he says, well, do you think Bruce's mother's German and blah, 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 or she's got German blood in her? I says, well, that's what I heard. He goes, no, you're wrong. So he brought this bit of paper out, and there's a letter that Bruce's mother had wrote, and it said on it that she was actually English, or half English stock. But the funny thing is, the letters that were addressed, and it was Bruce that wrote the letters to his mother in Hong Kong, were Grace Fulton Lee. And the last time I looked, Fulton wasn't a German name, and the last time I looked, Fulton was a Scottish name. So maybe there's some Scottish blood there, one way or another, because even though if her bloodline is English, the name is Scottish, and I'm sure even if her bloodline was in England, there's got to be a Scottish connection at some point, because Fulton's not an English name. So that was quite surprising, to see that.
It's incredible. I mean, some of the things that you've spoken to us today about have been kind of groundbreaking, particularly the Picasso story for me.
Brilliant.
I loved the Celtic player that Picasso drew.
A couple of wee things that I would like to say to Tommy. Bruce believed in a positive state of mind. He believed in a focused state of mind, a quality state of mind, and a mental clarity state of mind. How do you train your state of mind, Tommy?
The one that kind of sticks out for me is quality, because he always talked about quality, and I always think that's the one that sticks out. And I just don't mean quality state of mind, I just mean quality. And that's the thing that, even though Bruce said that's the thing I've always kind of wanted all through my life, even before I knew who Bruce Lee was or whatever. Always wanted quality, that way, I don't want to buy this cheaper one, I want a really kind of quality one, And Bruce always talked about quality, and I always think that's what I always try and do when I'm teaching. I'm always wanting to have quality teaching and turn out really quality students. Do your best and have quality, rather than quantity. Because if you had 30 people in a class, there's no way you're going to have 30 people that's amazing, But if you had, say, 6 folk in a class, chances you could have 2 that's really, it's quality.
Yeah.
And the other ones are just underneath it. But through time, they'll come up here. So I go for quality over everything else. And I know sometimes I could be cutting my throat because I could be making money with masses rather than having only a few. But it's sure it's good to make money, but I like to make money as well, but I like to have that kind of quality representation. Like I taught him, when people go, wow, he's good.
Yeah.
Or, this is what I done. So I always like the quality thing, definitely above everything else. But going back to what you said about, focus, you've got to have a focus, you've got to have some kind of focus, you've got to have some kind of goal. You certainly have. There's no two ways about it. And I think a lot of the young folk today just seem to, their focus and their goal seems to be too much, how could you say it? It seems to be too much orientated on TV, because I notice the young folk today want to be celebrities. If you ask them what they want to be, they want to be celebrities, but they've got nothing to be a celebrity for. What skill you bring to the table that you're a celebrity? I don't know, I just want to be like a celebrity. Well, can you act? No. Can you sing? No. Can you play an instrument? No. But I want to be a celebrity. Well, don't think you should have a skill and be really outstanding at that skill and no think about being a celebrity. Then one day people will call you a celebrity because you've got some kind of skill, talent or whatever, but you'll not think about celebrity first, that way. It's like they put the title before, having the means to have that title. If that's a better way to explain it.
On the back of what you were saying about the youth of today, if you like, and I want to be famous, that whole culture that's came through, going back to Tommy Docherty, who was famously the manager of Scotland and Manchester United, former Celtic player. He actually said in the 70s, back in the day, you had footballers trying to be superstars. Now you've got superstars trying to be footballers.
That's right.
And I think that's where we are with that.
They don't want to be celebrities.
Yeah.
There's the talent.
I know.
Don't want to work at it.
No.
They've got to work at it. Paul, we're coming out of lockdown at the moment. In 1969, Bruce was in a lockdown. He had a serious back injury, and they say that he could possibly never be involved in martial arts again. So he decided to meditate, which he believed helped calm his state of mind. And he believed in the power of rest. And he cultivated his state of mind by writing commentaries on martial arts, and from which Jeet came the main book. And his thoughts on that during that lockdown. How would you, and how have you dealt with this lockdown that we're presently in?
Well, I don't know if I should answer that question. It's difficult because after a few weeks, myself and my students says, well, if you're going to die, you're going to die.
Aye.
And I continued teaching, and they wanted to train, and we just continued doing it. I think the desire was just too great for some of the people I was teaching, and we still continued. And the way I looked at it is, okay, you know, there's this disease out here, and blah blah blah, and you can take every precaution you're going to take, but if you're going to get it, you're going to get it. That's my philosophy. It's like, you can wear a mask, you can wear gloves, you can cut yourself off, you can do everything. Somebody delivers something to your house, it's on it, you touch it, you scratch your face, you've got it. So, you know, I'm just the philosophy, if you're going to get it, you're going to get it, and that's it, you know.
I mean, I want to disagree with that, because you've actually created your own path and how to get through what's been going on. Because the great man himself had a great saying, walk on. You know, and he had that in the cap, walk on, walk continuously. He looked at it and he would say it, walk on, which is a famous saying for us as being the Celtic supporters as well. You know, so that to me has been brilliant, and I always loved that saying for him. So I think what he done was he reacted through his lockdown the way he reacted. So you've reacted the way you've wanted to act through your lockdown. So there's no much difference. It's how the situation's the problem, but it's how you react to it.
I think there's a major setback he had. There's no two ways about it. You know, he damaged the sciatic nerve, I think it was, or sciatic nerve. I can't remember the name of the nerve he damaged, but he damaged it, and he tried everything he could, and it just didn't work. And he eventually got was it acupuncture, and that helped a lot. That was a major setback in his life, and I think everybody runs into setbacks in their life, and it's just how you deal with it. You know, that's the thing. Sometimes these things are sent, as they say, to try you. You know, and just to see how you're going to cope with it, how he coped with it. He just changed his path and started writing volumes of notes on everything he could think of it. And I think he took the time that he couldn't go in one direction, he went in another direction. And the good thing that happened with us is, because of some of the guys wanted to train, that pushed us in one direction, that I just worked with a couple of people.
Yes.
Rather than the rest of the group. And that was good, because I could fine-tune them even better, and there's a lot of things that I'd look at and go, okay, I'll try it that way, and go away and think about it. So it was really good for me as well. See, the teaching bit is, you know, even though I've only got a few people, the teaching bit is the thing that I love the best, because that's the bit you grow the most. You don't always grow with practicing it. It's actually looking at people and teaching them. That's the bit you just gain so much knowledge and experience. You know, it's like, if you were just training all the time and no teaching people, okay, you would develop your grow, but you know, when you're teaching somebody, you learn so much for teaching. That's the bit where the amount of experience and knowledge you get for working with people is that bit I love. Even, and the majority of the time, really, apart from me teaching people one-to-one, when I'm teaching the group of guys, I'm doing it for really nothing, because see, when I collect money off the people, I pay the rent, and I might get petrol money, that's it. You know, as far as me putting money in my pocket, I'm basically doing it for nothing, unless I get folk that want to be taught one-to-one. So I teach at my wee small class, I teach for nothing. But that's a bit I love, because I just love going, right, we're at this point now, and I could fine-tune them. And then when I start to work on one thing, I go, okay, right, look at this. How can I cut that down a bit? How would he adapt to that? I need to develop an exercise and a drill that will help the guys overcome this. So I'm constantly thinking about how to develop exercise and drills that will take them. I always think that exercise and drills are stepping stones. It's like they can't go from here to here, but if you put wee exercise and drills, they step across them, then they get to there. You know, like typically, it seems a really simple thing that for you to move from point A to point B is that quick. You go at and you hit the person, and he doesn't even move, and you knock him out. Nobody can do that. Everybody see the guy's fast at moving. What happens is he moves and he hits him, but he's already saw him and he's moving, but he hits him. But imagine that you're going from point A to point B like that, and you hit the guy, he just drops. No even world class boxers can do that. And that's above speed. That's called suddenness. That's that thing that you go, oh my God. It's not like fast, it's like, and it's there. And he hasn't even saw it until he's there, and he's hit him, just dropped. Now, it took about 3 months for me to teach 2 guys to do that, and they can do it.
Wow,
and
fantastic.
That means that you've not got any telegraph. I mean, by a telegraph is they see something moving. It's like they see a finger, a shoulder, a knee moving, and then they're like, oh, he's moving. But they see it, but he's moving that fast. They're getting away from it, but it still hits them. But to close that quick, there's no give. There's nothing. He's moving, and you're there and caught him, and he's went, oh, bang, and he's hit him. And he's not even got a step. Now, at the start, they were closing fast, and the guy was moving his back foot, because you'd see him moving, but he'd just get his back foot away, and they'd still touch him. And then that took a bit of time. Then they go to the point like that. It's like, oh my God. never even get away. And you never see any fighters actually doing that, and maybe they're coaches or teachers that don't know about it, but this is again part of my journey that I'm like, well, I want the people I've got to move that quick. You see Bruce doing it, to move that quick that the other guy never even gets away and doesn't even stop it. How can I do it? You know, and to look at distance wise, okay, let's start closer and then work out until work a bit closer and work until they're out at the distance they would doing it. And once they get out, because it's a progression, once they go to the distance that they'd be doing it, the real application, they could do it.
That's actually quite interesting in how you explained that there, because one of the main quote that I've looked to speak to you about here is teacher and student, which Bruce Lee wrote. A good teacher can never be fixed in a routine. Each moment requires a sensitive mind that is constantly changing and adapting.
Aye, that's true.
A teacher must never impose his student to fit his favourite pattern. A good teacher protects his pupils from his own influence. A teacher is never a giver of truth. He is a guide, a pointer to the truth that each student must find for himself. I am not teaching you anything. I just help you to explore yourself. Now, from talking to you today, Tommy, I get from you that this is your philosophy.
That's true. There's a lot of times you've got to actually say to somebody, okay, do that, and then the word they always hear me saying is, how did that feel? Because that's how I taught myself when I was younger. I would throw a kick and go, oh, didn't feel right. I'd try it. That's right, that felt better. Because I think if you're going to be feeling it's always the best. It's like some people can make it, they can teach you to do something, but it ends up too mechanical. You're like, it's like mechanical. Okay, forget about mechanical. How does that feel? Go do this task. Right, try it that way. How does it feel? Does it feel right? Try it that way. How's that feel? No. Try it that way. How's that feel? That feels better. Okay, now twist it that way. How's that feel? That's good. Twist it that way. So you're always having that feedback. It's not like a traditional martial arts. It's like, this is set in stone. Go to that. Go to that. Everything's like, do this. Okay, so how does that feel? Doesn't it feel right? Right, okay, change it. So you're constantly, like a sculptor, constantly hacking away and changing. Yeah. And you've got that feedback all the time. That's how Jeet Kune Do was never designed to be taught in mass, because you can't teach 30 people this. It's like a tiny group. When Bruce taught, he only taught a tiny group as well. So it's designed to be taught only in a tiny group. But I always say to people that, you know, I think most people out there can teach, or if they're interested, could teach martial arts, but I don't think everybody out there is capable of teaching Jeet Kune Do. I think, and I'm not bragging, but I really think that Jeet Kune Do is a martial art that there's only so many people that can really understand it, and there's only so many people really can teach it, because you've got to have a flexible mind, you've got to have a vision. I think you've got to, most people that I would think would be better teachers would be people who are artistic. Now, whether it be artistic with creative sculpting things, painting things, drawing things, or people who play instruments and music. Always think that common thread of art, I always think they would probably make better teachers, because they're pliable, they're flexible, they've got the ability to adapt, they've got the ability to think and create. I think they people would make good martial arts teachers, definitely. And I don't think everybody really can understand Jeet Kune Do, because it's really, really simple, and simplicity seems to be a thing that most people don't understand. You know, we're kind of, in this day and age and the generation, everything's like complicated. You look at a mobile phone, it's like everything's so complicated. But just cut all that away, and could you make it really, really simple? So, you know, simplicity is an easy word to say, a difficult word to understand, and a more difficult word to actually apply.
We've spoken about your journey, Tommy, which, you know, it's been remarkable. You say that I'm just a guy for the East End of Glasgow, but you've travelled the world doing what you enjoy doing, and you're imparting that knowledge. At this moment in time, is there anything that you wanted to do that you've not yet achieved?
I think, as I said earlier on, I said, you know, really, you know, even just making one film, even if you never made a second one or a third one or whatever, even just making one film that was a classic and a message behind it, and in years to come people look back and remembered it, and they watched it. But, you know, I think something that's worthwhile, and something that we talked about earlier on, it was quality, without all the glitz and glamour, even making a film in black and white, but that had a strong message behind it, that say 30, 40, 50 year time, people could still look at it and still get the same message. That's the thing I'd love. Even if it was just one, that's it, you know. Because I think a lot of pictures nowadays and films and whatever, they're really they're for entertainment purposes, and I think that is great, and They're good for escapism. But, I always get something out of Bruce's films, and I think that, there was always a message in his film, and I always think, see if I had the chance to do that at one time in my life, that's what I'd love to do, have some kind of message behind it, Whether that message was the same for everybody that watched it, I don't know. But for everybody to get something out of it, rather than just looking at the characters and going, okay, this female was nice looking, this guy was nice looking, and this guy was a good actor. Like the pictures I made way back in the 30s and 40s, some of the people you looked at, they weren't beautiful looking, but there was something about it, and there was some kind of message that came off it, and that's what I always fancied then, just like make a film like a fine piece of art, because that, again, the film is the same as martial art. It's that kind of living, moving art, but it's a masterpiece. Like something like maybe, how Hitchcock made Psycho, it was just made in black and white, but a masterpiece. You look at it and it's a masterpiece. Something like that, even if it was only one, that's I never accomplished that.
Yeah.
Well, who knows?
There's time.
A goal is just something there to go for, but should never be achieved, because once you're there, you've got the next part.
The funny thing is, I was never into motors, right? I'm not a motor person, right? But my father drove for my cousin's boyfriend, who had a lot of money, right? And he drove a 911 Carrera, the one with the rubber spoiler, right? And he lost his licence, and my old man used to bring it home at the council house, and I'd be sitting outside the council house, and people would go up back and go, man, did your dad win the pools? Because they didn't have the lottery back then. And I says, no, I just a relative's boyfriend, blah, blah. So I said to my dad, I says, no, this would be great if I could drive this thing. He goes, well, I'll ask him. So he says, okay, Gordon says, any chance of Tommy driving the Porsche? I care a bloody thing, I don't care. Right. So I was about 22 at the time, so I'm driving about in this Porsche.
Brilliant.
Everybody's looking at me and says, one day I'm going to get one of them. Not just because how fast it was, I just loved the shape of it, right? So one day I got one, and I've had 4 of them. But when you're driving along the road and you're sitting inside it, it's only a motor. You can't see it from the outside, and it's only people that see it from the outside and go, that's nice, And now, when I'm driving my motor, which is out there, I drive along, and even when I take my partner's motor, which is a Renault Megane, 40 bits, it still gets me from point A to point B, and it's just a motor. But it was something that I always aspired to. One day I'd love to have that. But see, when I got it, I realise it's only a motor. It does the same as a £200 motor. Gets you from there to there. I know enjoyment, but I get is when I see her driving away and I look and go, well, that looks good. But you never see yourself driving.
You're sitting inside it.
You're sitting inside it, So it's a goal, but once you get there, you look at it and go, is that it?
Talking about that, Tommy, tell you what I loved. I loved the fight between Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran.
Aye. Sugar Ray, he was influenced with Bruce Lee.
Oh, no, he was.
I talked about that so many times. Remember the time before they actually sewed the thumb onto the glove?
Aye.
He gets thumbed.
That's right.
I'm not really sure who actually thumbed him. And they had a detached retina. And they got it fixed. And they done an exhibition fight. And you see him moving about. I don't know if you can still see this. You see him moving about. You see him throwing back fists and everything.
I've not seen it.
Aye. He had a head guard on. I'm sure it was a red head guard. Sweatpants, t-shirt, and he's moving about in the ring. You see him throwing a back fist, but he was heavily influenced with Bruce Lee. But Duran is a great fighter. See it close in. There was a guy, I think it was on YouTube, and he broke down one of Duran's fights where I think it's a South American or a Mexican guy, and his ability to fight inside, it's just when you watch them fight and you just think he's trying to hit him, right? But when you have a breakdown in the fight, you go, man, he's so technical.
Aye.
He's just so technical. Everything he does, he knows the response. He knows if he goes there, he knows he's got 2 responses. Mm-hmm. And if he goes there, he's got maybe 1 response. So everything's broken down to, I know if I go here, you can only do 2 things. And if I know there, you can only do 1 thing. And I know if I go there, the 1 thing you can do, I know exactly what it is. So technical. And I don't really think we have so much of that to do. I don't see anybody that fights inside like him.
No.
And Sugar Ray from outside, multiple punches, quick combinations and changing angles. It's like, I just don't see that calibre. I don't know.
I'm kind of the same as you. With a couple of guys in, the 2 Gillen brothers, who take the gym. It's just literally out to the right there and 500 yards down the road. They were in talking about the boxing and whatever. But you're sitting here, Tommy, where the great Benny Lynch fought. He just 50 yards there, behind us in the park. Who is your all-time favourite Scottish boxer?
I liked Jim Watson. I thought he was quite a good boxer. Buchanan was okay, but I didn't like his style. He seemed to be a kind of awkward, up in his toe kind of style, you know. And Benny Lynch, he was just a wee gangster, wasn't he? You know, I knew guys that actually went to his fight. When I was serving my time, you know, along the road in Parkhead there, there was guys that went to his fight in the 20s and all that, you know. But he was drunk half the time, and he was out scrapping with guys along at Bridgeton and God knows what, and he was getting poked. You know, he was supposed to be away at a camp training and blah, 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 you know. And I think later on he stayed in, is it Burnside? Stayed in Burnside.
I stayed in Burnside, aye.
But he was a tough guy, you know, no two ways about it, you know. For a hard background, and, you know, and they didn't have anything they've got today, you know, as far as, you know, I mean, you can imagine just where he was brought up and what he was brought up in, you know, just a different generation. That this generation wouldn't be able to endure half of what these people went through, you know. But I think he'd probably, you know, a way up there at the top, definitely. Jim Watt was okay, you know, and Buchanan, I had was it Ken Buchanan's groin guard and his head guard? I had both of them. Because the guy that I trained with, he was Buchanan and Jim Watt's sparring partner. And he trained me. And he says, you can have that. And he gave me a groin guard and a head guard, and that's what I used for years and years.
Oh, brilliant.
And it just, where it went, I don't know. But there's been nothing really come out of Scotland in the last while that you'd think of it. No, it's Scottish boxing's just, you know, it's hopeless.
There's a lot of learning in that couple of hours that we've just had there, Tommy, and I'm sure there'll be much more to chat about in the future. But all that's left for Jim and I to say to you is thank you so much for joining us on A Celtic State of Mind.
Well, this is it's been a first for me. I've never done one of these things before. I've done tons of live stuff. I was in Russia one time, and I done a TV interview with a translator for about an hour or something like that right after playing. So this has been different, you know. That's another thing I've done, and it's been good fun.
First of many, hopefully.
Cheers. Anytime.
Thanks very much, Tommy.
Thank you.
Thank you.